Hey guys, it's Calvin, also known as Romer, and this is your favorite horror games of all time. If you don't know what this is, basically I send out a message during the month and I ask people what is their favorite this or what do they think about this, and then we talk about their opinions in a video later on in the month. It's usually very fun, at least for me. I don't know how it is for other people, but I think it's very fun. So let's get into it. First one is from Zaphron Orbion. Alien Isolation is just amazing. They nailed the 80s green CRT monitor aesthetic, and the sound design is the best I've ever heard in any game. You can hear the air in every vent, you can hear the echo in every footstep, and every footstep creates on the metal planks of this hollow space station. The way you can see and hear your character is also extremely immersive. The alien itself is also horrifying because it learns, so you can't just repeat the same trick, and you can fight it, but you can't hurt it. Okay, yeah, I actually played this game and I want to talk about it in just a second. It also helps that the game is very well designed with multiple paths to take and a crafting system that allows for variety. And the cherry on top is that this game is extremely immersive. It's an extremely immersive game and can be played in VR if you dare to do so. Okay, so first of all, I read that poorly. He wrote it very well. He or she, I don't know, but I wrote it very well. I read it poorly. That's a great way to start, Calvin. I played Alien Isolation last year after my surgery, and I have the, it was a very weird time because when I came back from the hospital, I was like this person who was very frugal. I was like, I don't want to buy a game unless I know I'm going to play it, but I just went on this shopping spree because I was bedridden and I was like, I have to buy a few games, and I bought Alien Isolation and I actually really liked it. I didn't finish it. I forget the reason why I didn't finish it, but yeah, it is very cool how the alien learns your patterns and stuff like that, because I feel like that could be needed in a lot of horror games. I felt like in some games, I just run away and do the same thing over and over again. I'm able to outlast the onslaught of the enemy, I guess. But yeah, it's a really cool horror game. I think it's the best Alien game. Well, no, by far, it's the best Alien game that we have right now, and I think they should make a sequel. I'm just not sure if they will, but I think they should. I think they'd even get it even better in the next try. Thank you for that. Zanpan Khan. Well, I know you disagree, but mine kind of breaks the rules. It's PT. It doesn't break the rules. The game has such an atmosphere. We walk through this tight, claustrophobic and eerie set of hallways and descend lower and lower into our own madness. Yeah, the repeating chain of hallways to me was psychologically scary as we notice or imagine tiny differences. True. Then the whole Lisa gimmick. I think it was cool. It broke the fourth wall and was just cool. It also had very few jump scares and still scared me more than other video games could. All praise the Lord Hideo. So Hideo Kojima made this teaser, if you don't know. It's pretty famous, called PT, playable teaser, which was for the Silent Hills game. Which was actually very cool. I played it and I was actually scared shitless the first time I played it. And what Zanpan is talking about, but I know I disagree. Yeah, I don't find it as scary as other people after the first time, and I am a really big fan of the original Silent Hill game, so I'm kind of petty in some ways, so I'll fully admit that 100%. But I think it would have been a cool game, and I was very excited for the game to come out. It's just that right now, when it got cancelled, I wish I had more feelings towards it. I was sad for Hideo that he didn't get to make this really cool game, but at the same time, I didn't feel as much towards the game as I could, which is very upsetting. I still have it downloaded on my console though, but I think they just recently updated the game so you can't actually play it. Which is sad. It's very sad. It was a very cool experience. That whole time of when people were with that game, that playable teaser came out, everyone was really terrified. I really loved the idea of it. I really loved watching people play it. I watched people play it over and over again. I still watch people play it. This channel I watch, plays every year. Yeah, it's a really cool game. And Hideo Kojima is Zanpan Khan's favorite director of all time. And I never played a game apart from PT's the only Hideo game I've ever played. As you guys know, my favorite director of all time is Fumito Ueda, the guy who directed The Last Guardian, Ico, and Shadow of the Colossus. But yeah, I think that's where we differ a little bit. Thackeray Scroggins. Well, I don't generally play a lot of horror games. I love watching games like Friday the 13th. I do too. And Bendy the Ink Machine. I've heard about that game as well. They are really scary horror games, but they aren't really scary horror games, but more thriller type games. But I love them. And also I love playing some Death Road to Canada and 7 Days to Die. Although some might argue those aren't horror either. Either way, those are my faves. Now here's the thing. I actually think they're great picks. I love watching those games as well. But I'll say one thing that I actually think about about genres. I really don't think that things are as solid as they used to be back in the 90s. We were like, this is horror, this is platforming, and I feel like that's not the same anymore. For me, like, I played a game like Firewatch, and I came into my friends and I said, this is one of the best horror games I've ever played in my life. And they were like, Calvin, it's an adventure, like, exploration kind of walking game. Like, how can you say this is like the greatest, like, one of your favorite horror games you've ever played in your life? And the reason I say it is because it had so many scary moments. And to be honest, like, how can you define like a horror genre? I know people say like it's like it has horror elements that like are like scary, suspense, terror, all this different stuff, like driving, you know, crescendos. But to me, like, playing that game had all of that. So like, really, it's like, how do I not say that that's not a horror game to me? It's like the same with Shadow of the Colossus. When I say it's a puzzle game and people get so angry with me, it's like, it's a puzzle game. It is like, you're trying to, like, you're figuring out a puzzle how to kill someone. That's a puzzle. But yeah, I think they're really cool picks. I'd love to play Friday the 13th with a few people. I think that'd be really fun. 13 Carry Productions. My favorite series is Project Zero, or how it's called in America, Fatal Frame. It has a great atmosphere. You don't need a weapon. You only need an old camera where you have to shoot photos of ghosts. Oh, ghosts, scary. Yes, I know what you were thinking. Ghosts are scary. Ghosts are like the only scary thing left. How could this be a good horror game? If you played all games of it, especially Part 3 on the PS2, you will know how good this series is and how good the game is. And Part 3 was the scariest of them for me. This was the first time I was really scared by a video game, and that says all. Only for one moment, which I don't want to write about because I think everyone should play these games. I think I should play these like games because, like, again, they're games that like are talked about to me constantly, but like I never actually get a chance to play them. I like they're really cheap as well, which is honestly like it kind of like it doesn't make much sense for me not to play them, but I think I should eventually like play them at some point. Yeah, I've seen a few things about them, and they're actually very scary to me as well. I think ghosts are still scary. Because, like, the thing is, like, with ghosts, like, I know for a fact that the area I'm living in is kind of haunted. Like, I don't know if I believe in ghosts, but at the same time, it's like, I walk by some places sometimes, and I'm like, I totally saw something there, man. And I'm like, and I try to put in my head, like, you didn't see anything. No. When, like, I definitely probably could. Yeah, I think I want to play these games at some point. Scottsy Travers, who I've known for years, Jesus Christ. Honestly, Outlast without a doubt. I've never found a horror game, or even a movie for that matter, that is as terrifying as that game was the first time I played it. I played that game to death, reached a stage where I could complete the entire game in an hour and a quarter. That's really good. I know it inside and out, and it can still creep me out or catch me off guard when I decide to break it out at night. One of my favorite games of all time, honestly. I own Outlast. I played Outlast 1 and Whistleblower, and I think Whistleblower, and like, I'm not trying to say anything about the main game, but I think Whistleblower to me is like probably like the perfect example of like a really good DLC, and like how you should do a DLC, because there was a lot of people who did, and including myself, who was like, when I played Outlast 1, I was like, there's a lot of stuff here that's not as like creepy as like for me as I thought, and then they bring in like these like Outlast Whistleblower to me, like there was moments where like when I was playing it that I actually just wanted to like just someone to come in and actually just put me out of my misery in real life. I was just, please, just like someone just like blind me or something. Like, this is so terrifying, it's so disgusting, it's so gruesome, it's like really well made. And Outlast, the game itself, like I watched so many people play that game like constantly. I played it myself, but I watched so many people play that game because it was so much fun. It was like the YouTube culture at the time where you just watch people play Outlast. It kind of like for a while. If it had custom stories, I think that game would have been like living forever. I think that game would live forever, and I think it would have had a lot of legs like Amnesia did, to be honest. Live 5, I really enjoyed Resident Evil 7 because it brought back the horror aspect of the game and really made me shit my pants. Oh man, yeah, totally, when I played it. I felt like it was a nightmare slash bad horror film, but at the same time wanted to conquer the evil within the game itself. It was very creative, and the developers and the studio bring Resident Evil back to its scary roots. It had me at hello from the beginning. Yes, Resident Evil 7. You guys know I love this game. If you watch my top 50 favorite games of all time, you know it's there. Resident Evil 7 is a really terrifying game, and to me, I love that game from start to finish. I know a lot of people didn't really like the parts where I went to the ship because they were like, oh, well, it's, you know, and like, it's a valid criticism. I'm not saying, like, I sometimes I come across like I'm saying, like, your criticism is wrong, my criticism right. For me, it's just like, that's how Resident Evil does it. It's like, you had all your scary bits, now it's time to get into the pure action part of the game that, like, will probably frustrate you, but it's still really cool to me. I was so excited when Resident Evil 7 came out. I remember I wasn't going to buy it because I was, look, Calvin, you don't need to buy it. You love Resident Evil, but like, you don't have to buy it day one. And then like 5 o'clock came around and the shop was about to close that I could buy it in, and I was like sitting there at home, and I just thought to myself, I have to go and get this game. So I called the store. I was like, hey, what are you open till? And they were like, well, you're open for like another 45 minutes. And I said, okay, do you have Resident Evil 7? They said, let me check. Went quiet for a bit. We have 5 copies of Resident Evil 7. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be down there in like a few minutes. And they're like, oh, we're closing soon. And I was like, I'll be down there. I got down there in like 5 minutes and like bought the game and like ran home and played it. And it's on the channel. My playthrough is on the channel. Great pick, Life 5. It's a fantastic game. It really is a scary game. Like all of that game to me still terrifies me. Ta Epic Duck. I want to say that name properly, but I hopefully I'm saying it. That Epic Duck, but it's like Ta Epic Duck. That's really interesting actually to me. Okay, I'm not as passionate about this one because I don't really like horror games. Not many people are. Like it's not to be worried about. As much so, I haven't played very many, but the ones that I have played, my favorite would have to be Until Dawn. Oh my god, I love that game! Which I still have to watch your playthrough of. I think you're actually watching it now, which is actually like one of the most craziest things that someone's watching my Until Dawn playthrough. Oh my god, like. It's like, that was like early Calvin, like, that was like 3rd playthrough. This is because of the storytelling aspect. I also really like the character development in it and how it doesn't fully rely on cheap jump scares. I also like it because it's not meant to be a horror game, but also a mystery where you're slowly figuring out what's going on with your sisters. It really utilizes the fear of the unknown well and has a cool kind of meta twist. Yeah, it does. It's also fun that you can get a bunch of different outcomes with different players dying as such. I actually would love to play that game in like a group setting, like a slumber party setting. I don't normally like games like this with QuickTime events or whatever, but this one was really cool. I love QuickTime events. Oh, and the voice acting is good. It's a beautiful game and was animated amazing. Yes, the faces are really fantastic in this game as well. Again, don't yell at me for saying this is a bad game or anything. I haven't played very many horror games. Love your content. Have a spoopy October, everyone. Don't yell at me for saying this is a bad game or anything. I don't know if you said it was a bad game, did you? Why? Oh, you don't want me to yell at you and say that it's a bad horror game. Why would I say that? I love Until Dawn. I freaking love it. It's honestly, again, I put it in my top 50 favorite games of all time. I think it's a fantastic game. I think that like the choices actually matter. I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on video game developers to make choices matter. But I like, and a lot of people say the Until Dawn choices don't matter, but to me it's like if you're going to the store to get some bread, right? And I'm going on a tangent. You're going to the store to get some bread, and your friend Jenny comes with you. Let's just say Jenny. Jenny comes with you, and you go to the store, you get some bread, nothing happens. Okay? Let's say instead, Tom goes to the store with you. Yeah, now, in theory, like, you're like, oh, that's not much of a choice when you're playing a video game, but in real life, if you really think about it, that's like a whole different experience. Going to, like, the store with, like, a different person's different experience. So, like, if you think about this, going through a horror, like, adventure with different people dying, some people, like, honestly, you can end the game with no one surviving, you can end the game with one person surviving, with, like, everyone surviving, with, like, a few people surviving. Like, it's a really cool way of doing things, and I honestly think that, like, it's one of my favorite games of all time. It really is, it's a lot of fun. Smashman79, definitely SCP, Containment Breach. If you're a big fan of SCP Wiki and all the lore behind it, then you will love the game. It's a really scary game. The game is very well thought out and it plays well within that lore. Also, the SPCs themselves are very faithful to the original articles. As a side note, SPC-096 is particularly terrifying. I watch Markiplier play this game. I've watched him since, like, I started watching YouTube back in 2013, I think, play this game. It is a game that, like, it's really weird because, like, no matter how many times you play it, because it's random, it's still scary each time, and I think that's like a really cool aspect to it. I'm also like I haven't played the game myself, but I do love like watching someone go through that game because it's like you don't know what's around the corner, they don't know what's around the corner, and it's like a whole new experience. And every single time they load a new map, they don't know what's happening, but like, you know the particular stuff of where everything is. Like, you know he has to get this key card, you know he has to do this. You know when you see the certain SPCs, you're like, oh my freaking god, like look, that one's coming. You know what it does, and you're like, it's really scary. That's a really good pick. That's a really fantastic pick. Jimmy T, Resident Evil 4 is my favorite spooky game. The first time I played it, I spotted a zombie dog through my sniper and I thought it was a wolf you saved earlier on in the game. And when it jumped to me, I screamed like a little baby, dropped my cigarette and burned a hole in my shirt. So much fun. See, that's like the stories that like we always remember, right? Like those like things where like shit goes wrong in video games, and like I think like first of all, Resident Evil 4 is again one of the most amazing games I've ever played in my goddamn life. I think there's a playthrough of it up on the channel as well, but like that game honestly, like for me, like a lot of people get angry at the quick time events. I really like the quick time events in that game, but also like it had this perfect balance of horror, but like there was also this transition to action. Also, it's a very innovative game because it was one of the first, I think it was the first, to have an over-the-shoulder camera, which kind of like is still influencing games today. Can you imagine if that didn't do that and like we would have gotten to it much later? We don't know what process we might have gotten Last of Us 1 last year. You never know, like man, like that's how video games work. It's a really good game, but I have a particular moment where like I can remember it clearly. I was playing Spyro the Dragon and the spider was jumping around the place and I was like, oh, it's like a decoration, and then it just jumps towards me and like my lip kind of like quivered really like violently, and like I was like so scared. This was like 7 AM by the way, because I just woke up to play this game because I rented it and I was like, I have to finish the game before I bring it back today. I went into my mother at like 7:30 because I paused the game and I went in at like 7:30 and I was like, ma'am, and I was like really young. I was like, ma'am, this spider jumped at me, and like even though she couldn't do anything, I wanted like reassurance that like everything in real life was okay, and like it was like she was like, yeah, it's fine, Calvin, like it's fake. Like it's like I know, but like I love those moments, and those moments are the ones you'll remember forever. Lime Green, I just like E because it's got puzzles that make you think, multiple endings, your choices impact the game, it's just fun and time. This is such a, like, it's such a strange question because like there's so many different answers here, and like Eve is like a scary game, and I think like again, another game I watched like YouTubers play constantly, but it is like a really terrifying game, and I think like it would get overlooked, and I'd love to play it myself, but the thing is I know the twists, I know all the different things about it. It's still a very, very cool game. It's a very, very cool game. Very, very good pick. I think, I don't want to like, I think this is one of those games that I would recommend looking up someone to play it, or like play it yourself, because it is a really good horror game, but also like it's not just like a good horror game. It's also like beautiful. It's also designed well. It's interesting. It's one of those things that like the vision of like the loading screen or the menu screen stays with me even at this point. Like it's really, really good. It's a really good horror game. Okay, Conrad Waisaki, of course it's Amnesia, The Dark Descent. Penumbra, Black Plague is also nice, both from fictional games. Penumbra, again, I saw a few people play the first part of the game, but I'm playing Amnesia right now on the channel, and it is extremely terrifying, and I sometimes can't even live through it. It is terrifying me. I actually did a stream of it yesterday, and I was playing with our headphones, and like I was worried that like it wasn't gonna be as scary, but it was still scary. But it wasn't as scary, and I wish like I played with more headphones. But it's a really terrifying game, as you guys probably know at this point. I'm getting scared shitless of it. It's really scary. And Dale Taylor, my favorite horror game has to be Little Nightmares. I absolutely love the atmosphere and how the story was told. Oh my god, that game's on sale right now. I should freaking get it. It's like €11 for like the complete edition. I think I should get that game. I think I should play it. That was actually one of the 3 choices. It was going to be Outlast 2, Amnesia: The Dark Descent, or Little Nightmares. And I'm kind of like glad I played Amnesia on the channel, because I think Little Nightmares is a game I want to play intimately, under the covers, you know, just kind of like head under the covers, playing that game. Yeah, okay, yeah, great pick. Thank you guys for watching this video. I will be doing another one very soon. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to 2 weeks into every month, I'm going to do the topic, and then I'm going to like basically like say like what's you think of this, and then we're going to do it like that. So I think the next one might be like your first ever gaming console and how you felt. I think that'll be a really interesting topic. But I have to say, where's my side of this stuff? I should be doing it right now. The Zelda one will be coming out hopefully next week, and then the horror one, I don't think I'm doing one for this, because I feel like there's too many for me personally, and also like I talk about it all the time on Amnesia. I think like it's just another 30-minute video of me just like I think one video a month of me like indulging my own opinion is enough, I think, don't you think? Or maybe it's not, I don't know. Also, guys, I'm thinking of doing a Nintendo Direct. Oh my god. Okay, you know what I meant. See you later. Fuck.